Today me, Komal, and my group members, Mishti, Namrita, and Chandni are going to give a presentation on Apple. First, let's take a look at as to why does Apple do business internationally. So there are multiple reasons, starting with sources. Sources of supply. Apple's manufacturing operations are spread around the globe. To cut costs and improve efficiencies, companies like Apple manufacture and develop products overseas. It is much easier to manufacture in China and Southern Asia than combat logistical challenges of manufacturing in the US. In addition, labor costs are low in these countries as well. Sources of sale. Although US remains Apple's biggest market, the company earns billions selling in Europe, Greater China, Japan, and the rest of the Asia Pacific. We also have diversification. Diversifying the customer base by expanding into markets of different countries helps businesses like Apple spread the risk associated with the slowing demand and reception of products in different countries.
Apple has started a paper and packaging initiative according to which it has adopted a different approach to reduce the impact on global resources. It uses a strategy to protect and create a sustainable working forest. Moreover, it follows an efficient packaging system that reduces the amount of plastic used and increase the use of recycled fiber. It has been updated towards sustainable fiber specifications further. To ensure this process, Apple carries out a 3-step audit process every year. It also creates a guidance that is available in English and Chinese to educate the suppliers. It has helped create a fundamental and necessary shift in the use of global resources.
Now, let's talk about globalization background of Apple. Apple has become a global company once it started to expand its branches across the world, alluring the vast magnitude of consumers. Also, due to a vast number of stores, Apple's provide job opportunities to thousands and millions of people, making it accessible for all range of people to get a chance to take a job in the growing company. Now, let's have a look on the globalization of Apple. In the year 2017, there were around 728 million Apple users across the world, where the Chinese users has the biggest proportion with 228 million and followed by the US market users with 120 million. Additionally, there is a huge population of people using Apple products from different and various countries like users in India, Spain, Germany, Italy, and many more. Next slide, please. Let's have a look on the advantages of globalization to Apple. First is the manufacturing of products at the lower prices. Second, cheaper labor costs. Third, the more focus on the core activities and functions. Last, cheaper cost of production and assembling. Next slide, please. On the top of China, Apple has made world's most valuable company over 2 decades. All its products are assembled in China, which generates 1/5 of its sale in the country itself. In accordance with 2017 Chinese law, Apple moved its customer data to China and on their database run by Chinese state-owned company. This Apple data is physically controlled and operated by the Chinese government. Chinese authorities from taking a control over the access to emails, photos, calendar, location data, and contracts of Apple customers. Apple resisted China's efforts to make better control over customer data, but given the China's influence over Apple, Apple had no choice but to obey. Firstly, there was disagreement about the digital key that can unlock iCloud encryption. Apple wanted to store them in United States, but Chinese authorities wanted to store them in China. Next slide, please. Let's talk about outsourcing. Apple has considered outsourcing to make its marvelous reputation globally. To achieve its business goals, Apple outsourced its app development and maintenance, customer service, security, data operation, and administrative activities like recruiting. Apple's IT outsourcing partners in India are as follows: Infosys, TCS, Wipro, L&T Infotech, and many more. Next slide, please. Now let's talk about offshoring. The criteria to choose offshoring country for Apple is decline based on capability and diverse talent goals, communication in English, and cost of labor. What is the motive behind offshoring? Offshoring is not at all a rare occurrence, especially in big companies like Apple. Apple's offshoring production has allowed the company to reach wider market that too faster. What is the taken from Apple's offshoring? Apple's experience and successful practice demonstrate that offshoring is great to ease the total burden and get work done in efficient and effective manner in a short period of time. Next slide, please. Now, let's have a look on the trade wars with China. After the news of the major escalation in the US China trade war, Apple closed around 6%. Although the trade war seems to be affecting various stocks, Apple is the one targeted the most. Apple feels vulnerable as its main land for assembling iPhone is China. After shifting its iPhone's production capacity to India from China after the US China trade war, the Republic of China is the Apple's third largest market after the US and Europe. It has been reported that Apple has invested more than $275 billion in China over the past few years.
Now let's have a look at business partners. First partner is Deloitte. Deloitte maximizes iPhone and iPad through enterprise expertise. 100K Deloitte has over 1 lakh Apple devices internally and more than 75 custom apps in multiple industries. Next slide, please. Accenture. Accenture creates Apple solutions to transform how businesses work. 98% of Accenture's top 100 clients have worked with them for at least 10 years. Next slide, please. Now have a look at acquisitions of Apple. Apple buys Beats. When Apple acquired Beats, the company also had a compelling music streaming solution that is now the backbone for Apple Music. Instead of needing to start from scratch with the Apple Music, Apple instead built it with a head start from the Beats. And in the process, the company was able to take the fight to Spotify sooner and start attracting users to its streaming music platform. With the help from Beats, Apple now had a foothold in high-end audio experiences, and it was able to do with a brand that was culturally relevant and widely viewed as a cool. It wasn't uncommon to see artists, celebrities, and others wearing Beats headphones on television, in social media, and elsewhere. Those who wanted to be part of this were also the part of this. So this was all about the Beats with Apple. Next slide, please.
Ethics and compliance. Apple's official website states that Apple conducts business ethically, honestly, and in compliance with the law. Apple Incorporated has a business conduct policy in place which sets out ethical requirements for its employees. The policy applies to all employees, whether full-time or part-time. Employees are required to read and understand the policy when joining the company and again after a year. There are disciplinary measures in place as well for those who violate the policy. To ensure compliance, a number of functions have been placed in the business organization. Apple's business conduct and global compliance team focuses on business conduct, political compliance, export and sanctions compliance, health compliance, antitrust compliance, and anti-corruption compliance. To ensure effectiveness of the programs, the company conducts internal and third-party independent assessments. Constant changes and updates are made to the policy and training programs with emerging trends. Apple's Chief Compliance Officer provides regular updates to the Audit and Finance Committee of the Board of Directors. Even though the company has a number of measures in place to ensure business is conducted ethically and that Apple's partners and employees across the world comply with them, the company has faced various issues. Now, Chandni will talk about a bribery case Apple's head of global security was involved in.
In 2020, Apple's head of global security was charged with bribery for promising to donate iPads to Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office in exchange for concealed weapon permits. A 2-year investigation was initiated into the sheriff's office, which explored an elite scheme to trade concealed weapons permit in exchange for goods, such as iPads and expensive sport tickets. Thomas Moyer, who had been Apple's security head since 2013, had applied for concealed weapon permits. The sheriff's office held up the application until Moyer agreed to get Apple to donate $70,000 worth of iPads. These allegations were denied by Moyer, and it was stated that he had helped arrange a donation of iPads to a new education center for the sheriff's office. But the donation wasn't connected with 4 concealed carry permits issued to Apple employees. In addition to Thomas Moyer, Santa Clara Under Sheriff Rick Sung and Captain James Jensen, who allegedly requested the bribes, were also indicated. It is also notable that Thomas Moyer served as Apple's Chief Compliance Officer from 2009 to 2013, whose one responsibility is to ensure that companies follow anti-bribery laws.
Corporate social responsibility. Apple is socially accountable to the public and its stakeholders. Apple is implementing corporate social responsibility through a number of ways. First, by supporting local communities, educating and empowering workers, ensuring employee health and safety, reducing its carbon footprint, sustainable sourcing and packaging, energy efficiency and clean energy, encouraging diversity and inclusion.
Apple has faced a number of issues in regard to CSR. Employees at the New York City Grand Central Apple Store are in the process of unionizing, making the store the first Apple retail outlet to unionize. Recent news also surfaced about employees pushing back against return to office. Employees need Apple to rethink thoughts on remote work policies and come up with solutions about the workplace issue. As Delta variant swept the world, people feared in-person activities and have rallied for reform in workplaces. The reason being in-person collaboration is necessary for innovation and the company's culture and future, according to a video released by the company.
Then we have the issue with Apple AirTags. Apple's latest product, AirTag, which is a Bluetooth tracker that can be placed on items like keys, wallets, and other easily misplaced items, came under scrutiny for its use in stalking. The device compromises personal privacy of users and on multiple occasions has been used by stalkers to track their prey. Although Apple has made efforts to prevent misuse by encrypting the communication between AirTags and its Find My network, according to the privacy experts, Apple will need to collaborate with competitors such as Samsung, Tile, and other companies to find a solution for the problem. Apple has a responsibility towards society, and one of its aspects is to not let abusers exploit technology for nefarious acts.
That was all about the Apple. Thank you.